What's up, everybody? Look, I got a cutie little mic now. We're back with another episode of me telling y'all my survivor business. We got a lot of questions this week. I don't even know if I'm gonna get through all of them, but I'm gonna try my best. So let's go. At this point, how much of you wanted to be the final remaining Colo member? I don't know if I was even thinking about being the final remaining Colo member at this point. I was more so just thinking about getting to the end and winning. But how much of me wanted to be the sole survivor? 200%. I need to know if you guys ever talked about Zach Brown again on the island after that episode. I think we might have talked about it like a little bit, but there was so much craziness going on and so many other twists that came after that. I feel like once it happened and the moment passed, we kind of just moved on to the next thing. F, marry, kill. Mango, passion fruit, pomegranate. Um, F, pomegranate, marry mango, kill passion fruit. I'm not a really big passion fruit girly. Something about it tastes like perfume to me. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but I don't like it. First of all, so proud of you. Did you ever consider giving the necklace to Cirie? You know what? Honestly, I don't think so, only because of how crazy the day was and how evident it was that everybody was coming for me. However, now that I think about it, pulling that little switcheroo probably would have been, you know, the best option. But at the same time, I think because of Rizzo's idol still being in play and like the nature of how bad everybody wanted to get me out, I don't think it crossed my mind because I wasn't prepared for things to, flip or turn or go sideways and the end result being me going home instead of Seri. It was just too risky of a decision to do at that point in the game. Did you realize they were all targeting you before the challenge? I'm going to say yes and no, right? There were moments where it was very obvious that people were intimidated by me and people no longer wanted me in the game because you can tell by the spirit and the enthusiasm that somebody has when certain people win versus when other people won. And it started to become more clear and clear to me that when people like Joe or Jonathan would win, there would be more celebrations going on. But the couple of times where I would win or I would come on top or I would do like something good, the with certain people, the spirit around camp was like very damp and very solemn. And it's like, I understand there's a fine line between like being upset that you lost and then being genuinely upset that somebody else won. And there were moments, but that challenge confirmed it for me. So this is funny. Rizzo is actually one of the people in my questions box right now. He doesn't have a question, but Rizzo said, sorry that I kept my idol for so long. Rizzo, you are hilarious and I forgive you. Did you know they were plotting against you when they wasn't helping? So again, I had my suspicions, but during that challenge, I cannot emphasize to y'all enough how genuinely locked in I was and just focused on my own lane. I was not listening to what was going on with them. Like I heard I heard little whispers of like chatter, them helping each other. At one point I did see um I think I saw out of the corner of my eye like Jonathan and Joe running back and forth, but I was focused on my own puzzle, which is probably why I beat everybody else because it's an individual immunity challenge. At what point I became so big of a threat that everybody had to gang up on me, I don't know, but it became more evident to me after the challenge. You're amazing. Do you think people underestimated you as a player? That's an interesting question, and I'm going to say yes and no. I'm going to say yes because I believe that the people who weren't playing with me underestimated me. You always look on the internet and you see different sentiments. There were a lot of people. I remember when my name got announced as one of the cast of 50, like, oh, why Tiffany? What is she doing out there? Like, a lot of people had questions about what I was doing out there. So I think that there were a lot of Survivor fans and just general spectators that underestimated me. And you know what? I kind of get it because I too feel like the first time I played, I didn't get to showcase fully what I was capable of. So fine and fair. The people I was playing with, however, I don't think underestimated me. I think that the people I was playing with were very intimidated and saw very early on what I was capable of, which is why at final six, it came to a point where people were so willing to get me out of the game and so desperate to get me out of the game that they abandoned their own individual shots at immunity just to make sure anybody won but me. Now, it's still a very interesting scenario because a lot of like my strategic gameplay and conversations and social game has not really been highlighted or shown because a lot of like my pre-merge and early merge confessionals and just relationship building and all that type of stuff kind of wasn't shown. But I do hope that for as much of my game that wasn't shown, that it is increasingly obvious to everybody watching that nobody's giving up a shot at individual immunity at final six to try to get out somebody who is not a serious threat in the game. Like, they were at that point willing to send me home before Cirie, who I think is one of the best players to ever play this game. So I hope that puts things into perspective for y'all. How are you so cool? You know, I don't know. Just a lot of life experience, and I like to roll with the punches. What kind of ally do you look for to work with? I like to move off of vibes, people that I genuinely connect with as friends. While I'm a very strategic player, I'm also a very good read of energy. And I like to work with people who I genuinely feel like I would be friends with you outside of this game. Because when you feel a sense of friendship and like real bonding, you get a level of comfort that is not easy to come by in a game of lying and manipulation. So for me, usually I'm just a vibes person. Did you want to take Seri to the final three? Now listen, don't fight me because I know how you girls like to tussle. I did. I did. Now, yes, I know y'all can go ahead and throw tomatoes and call me stupid. And uh, I'm well aware of the type of game player that Seri is. I'm well aware of who she is. And as somebody who is not only a fan of the game, but a student of the game, I know what taking Cirie to final three meant for me. And I was still willing to sit next to her because one, I think she deserves it. And two, that's my friend. And um, I just wasn't willing to play that type of game. Girl, I screamed when you won again. Is Rizzo okay? He doesn't look healthy. Thank you so much for cheering me on because, girl, I was screaming on the inside and the outside. And honestly, Rizzo was struggling a lot out there. You know, think about it. He played Survivor 49, then he turned around in a couple of weeks and came back to play season 50. He lost so much weight. I remember seeing a picture of what Rizzo looked like before he played season 49, and I was like, oh my God, like, he didn't even look like the same person. Why not go for Rizzo and his idol instead of Cirie? Congrats on making it to the finale, Queen. Thank you so much. And child, I was trying. I was trying my hardest to get Rizzo and that daggone idol up out of the game. But unfortunately, you can't vote people out by yourself. Everybody else saw Rizzo and his idol as unfortunately not as threatening as me. So there's only but so much you can do. How did you feel watching both Joe and Jonathan both misspell inconceivable with help? Love you. Love you more. And you know what? It's kind of satisfying. It was a bit satisfying to see, because it was hilarious, one. And number two, I felt a little bit of vindication because number one, first of all, Survivor is a dog eat dog game. I understand that. I know what I signed up for. But particularly two people who and hollered the whole game about honesty and integrity to try to cheat and help each other and still not win. Chef kiss. Do you think Camilla and Dee going out early ended up being a good thing for your game? Not necessarily, because it's difficult to maneuver through a game of people that are afraid of you. And Camilla and Dee are strong women. Cirie is a strong woman. It's so much easier to play with people when they're not afraid of you. And, in order to play the game the way I wanted to and make moves the way I wanted to, I probably would have been able to do a lot more. I probably would have been able to, have a little bit more heat taken off of my shoulders with, heavy hitters like Camilla D's still in the game. Uh, so while I was able to be a little bit more fluid with my gameplay and my relationships, I do think that it kind of made my target a little bit bigger when they left as early as they did. Win or lose, I need to see you play a third time. You have been a rock star this season. That makes me feel so good. Thank you so much. I cannot tell y'all how hungry I was to just go out there this season and prove not only to myself, but to everybody else that I am not a player to be trifled with. I know in 46, it was a little difficult to get my feet up under me, especially with like such a chaotic season. But the fact that I was able to play this game on my own terms and eventually show everybody why I was there, it means a lot to me. So it feels very good to know that fans and supporters of the show are taking notice of that as well. I'm so mad they under edited you in the pre merge. You have been a star post merge queen. Honestly, thank you. And you know what? I'm kind of mad they under edited me in the pre merge too now, thinking about it, because there are a lot of people, or sometimes I read comments, I see what people say. There's a lot of people out there that are a bit confused about me making final five, and not confused in the way that's like, oh my god, like what is she doing there, but confused in a way that's like, what has this woman been doing to make a way for her all the way to the final five from where she started in the game. And I wish that more of that was shown. Unfortunately, I can't control the stories that are told, or how much or how little the editors and producers choose to show, or what angles they choose to tell. But I do feel like if they had shown a little bit more of, my early gameplay and my strategy and the ways I maneuver through the game, me making final five and having everybody in the final six so shook to the point where they were ready to team up, it might make a little bit more sense, because there are a lot of people still left in the game that can win challenges. That's obviously not why people are scared and trying to send me home. It's a little bit more than that. So I'm a little sad about the under editing of it all too, but I know that the real fans are going to be able to see that there's obviously more to it based on, if nothing else, how people are acting at final six. What was your method to last week's word puzzle? You don't have to post the answer. I had seen a puzzle like that before because, like I told some of you guys, I trained with Hunter. He made things like that. For me, not only is it important to know how to spell, but also I spelled the word backwards. So the strategy for me was paying more attention to the back side of the puzzle and spelling that backwards, and just making sure that the front side of the puzzle was aligned. And I think that that's where everybody else messed up. If you can't spell inconceivable backwards, then it'll probably take you twice as long to get through the puzzle, because you need to pay more attention to the back side, and the front side will just fall into place. What were your immediate thoughts when Cirie went home? Did you know about the Cirie plan? I was devastated. I don't know if you guys are going to see any of this in the finale episode or not, but I was crushed. I cried so bad when I got back to camp. I was mad. I was crying. Um, Not because I didn't know she was going home. I knew Cirie was going home. Me and Cirie had everybody in the game shook, and that was very obvious. But it still didn't ease the blow anymore. And more than anything else, after Seri left, I truly felt alone for the first time in the game. Oof, hold on, wait. Not me about to cry. Okay, let me gather myself. I'm sorry. Okay, y'all, I had to step away and gather myself. We are back. I did not expect to get emotional, but here we are. Obviously, I did not write Cerie's name down. That's something that I just simply refused to do. And I was really sad about it. What you guys may or may not see, I think I said this before, is that when I got back to camp that night, I was really sad. I cried. Um, for the first time since the game had started, I really and truly felt alone in the game, for quite a few reasons. Not only because Cirie was somebody who just understood me on a much deeper level than just Survivor. She understood what it felt like to navigate the game from my perspective, which is not something that you get often. And aside from that, I know it's a game. I know what I signed up for, but I did feel really isolated. And at that point, I kind of felt just a little bit singled out for quite a few reasons, none that I care to get into right now. But it was sad. I knew about it. I was hopeful that people would see things from my perspective and we could switch things around, but unfortunately that's just not how it shook out. I just wanted to say that this season has made you one of my favorite players ever. Mad respect for you. Thank you so much. That one's hit me right in the feels, and I really appreciate that. I left Fiji feeling very proud of the game that I played, and I'm so grateful that you guys are able to appreciate that too. Who was better to work with, Aubrey or Jonathan? Cirie. No, let me answer. Let me see if I can give you a serious answer to that question. Probably Aubrey. I mean, she's great. She's fun. Um, she's she's fun. She's fun to be around, and she's just a cool player, and I have mad respect for her. So I'll say Aubrey. Did you have any idea that you were the target before Cirie said it to you? I had inklings that people were targeting me, but Cirie confirmed it for me. How does it feel to be the only player this season so far to beat their personal best? It feels incredible because more than anything else, that's what I set out to do. I Aside from winning the money, my biggest goal this season was to walk away feeling proud of myself because I was truly devastated the first time I played the game. And I was not proud of the game I played, despite the fact that people really, saw the potential and where I could go. I didn't feel like I had the opportunity to give it my best. But when I left this season, I definitely felt proud. So it felt like I won the moment I bested myself because at that point I had accomplished the biggest goal that I set out there to accomplish, was to just prove to myself that I could do it and that I was the player that I thought I was in my head. Would you ever have voted out Seri if push came to shove? Probably not. If I'm being honest, like I feel like it would have been so iconic to sit next to Seri in a final three, especially on like a season like Survivor 50. The woman is a legend, a survivor goddess, and more importantly, my friend. I would have loved to sit next to her. And I'm just not scared. I'm wondering how you guys use the loo, the restroom in parentheses. We either go in the ocean or we go into the woods and dig a hole. I know it's disgusting. My preferred method is the ocean. It just feels cleaner. How did you and Hunter become besties? Because we never saw that during the game in 46. Hunter and I were not really besties in the game during 46. We were kind of working against each other almost. We didn't become really close until Ponderosa after 46. It was like we kind of trauma bonded a little bit after getting voted out back to back with idols in our pockets. And we just kind of started having conversations around that. We realized how much we had in common, personality wise, and just the things that we enjoy. And we just kind of became instant besties. It was so strange, but wouldn't trade it for the world. What's the beauty prep like before going on? Also, you're my fantasy league pick, so up by 16. Hey, love that. I didn't do a ton of beauty treatments before going out there. For me, the most important things were to get my hair braided because going out to Fiji with an afro is absolutely not something I was willing to do. And I got laser on like my underarms. Some people get their lashes done. I didn't do that. Um, I made sure that like I took care of my skin. The most important prep for me was just like getting physically prepped. But the only two things I really made sure to take care of were like my hair and my underarms. And obviously I did like a full body shave before I went out there because there's no razors and soap on the island. But yeah, I think that's about it. I missed the surviving part of Survivor. Did anyone catch a fish? Is that rice enough? That's funny. They didn't show you guys a lot of that, but there was a ton of that going on. Azie used to catch fish all the time. Jonathan caught quite a few fish, I believe. The rice was more than enough. We got a huge bag of rice. Um, I believe from the point that we got the rice, it probably lasted us through the rest of the game. And I think that at one point, like we got chickens. They didn't show you guys a lot of the fishing and the catching of the fish, probably because there was so much chaotic gameplay and twists. But the survivor portion of the game is very much still happening in the background. I even like boiled and ate snails and crabs. I hope Jonathan licking the rice didn't contaminate the whole thing. Hope you're okay. Child, that was like the most gross thing I had ever witnessed. Thankfully, it did not contaminate the entire bag of rice because he scooped that jar full of rice out of the larger bag that we had. So while he likely did contaminate the rice that was in that jar that we planned on cooking, he didn't contaminate the bigger bag of rice. While either way, it's still disgusting, but yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, I hope he didn't pour that rice back into the bag. Either way, just nasty. Jeff hinted that a returning season will happen soon. Have they started casting? If they have, not to my knowledge, I haven't been contacted. I mean, maybe they will. I hope they do more returning seasons because I feel like playing Survivor the second time, for me, I was able to really cut loose, and I think people are able to take more risks and have more fun with it because they're more focused on playing the game versus just playing not to lose. Now that 50 is ending, do you honestly think calling it in the hands of the fans is justified? I've been seeing a lot of pushback from the fans around like the twists and stuff like that. So I think that that question is something that I would have to do a poll on. So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments whether y'all think calling it in the hands of the fans is justified or not. How is the wardrobe for Jury Fit selected? Do they have a makeup artist or do you do it on your own? We do our own makeup when it comes to jury. I remember on 46 when I did my makeup, everybody was like, "Oh my god, like your makeup looks amazing. Like you look so good." And I was like, "Are y'all trying to say I was looking busted?" But yeah, no, we do our own makeup for jury, and ultimately we do select the outfits that we want to wear for jury, and then we send it off for approval from the wardrobe team. Like we'll say what we want to wear, we'll send them pictures, and then of the options that we give them, the wardrobe team will give us a yes or no. WTF is going on with Joe right now? I don't know. I'm blocked. How did you feel when you realized they were all teaming up against you? At first I was mad, but then I was flattered because I'm like, wow, I really am who I think I am. Because on season 50, at final six, y'all are willing to drop y'all shots at individual immunity just to make sure I go home. Yeah, I'm that girl. I'm definitely that girl. However, along with being flattered, there was like a little hint of disappointment too, though, because I'm like, wow, it's season 50. This is supposed to be like, do or die. Y'all are supposed to be giving it y'all all. But instead of me competing against people who are really ready to dig in and scrap it out like I was, I'm playing with a bunch of people that are trying to take the easy way out and gang up on one player. That to me was hella whack. I'm curious. We seldom see you guys talk strategy while on the water / dipping in the sea. Why? It's not that it doesn't happen. We do it. I think it's just a matter of which conversations they choose to show you guys that is going to push the story forward that is trying to be told. There's hours and hours of footage of us doing everything. Climbing rocks, in the ocean, uh, searching for idols. There's a lot of stuff that you guys don't see. And I think what it boils down to is just that there's not enough time in the episode. If you were to go on a Survivor versus Big Brother season, who would you want to work with? I think it depends on who was out there, but I would probably want to work with, you know what? I think I would keep my options open. I think the easy answer is to say that you would play with the Survivor players, but I think I would keep my option open and try to dip my hand in as many pots as possible. I might actually get a little further working with the Big Brother players because I feel like as a Big Brother player, if they're playing Survivor, they might find a little more value in aligning with somebody that has played the game before. Because I know if I was to play a Big Brother season with people that have played Big Brother before, that's what I would do. Where did you learn how to spell inconceivable? I'm still out here in the trenches. I'm a big reading girly. I love to read. I love books. I love word puzzles. I do a lot of that. So I'm probably read that word a million times. Who was your favorite person to play Survivor with? I think it's a two-way tie between D and Cirie because they just feel like home. Absolutely loved playing with Rick Devens. That man is fun. That man is funny. And he definitely was a highlight in my Survivor 50 journey as well. So D, Cirie, and Rick Devens. How did you and Cirie get so close? I'm gutted we didn't get to see y'all bond. I am gutted too because I think that that was, for me, one of the most magical parts about my season. Like, we just clicked. And it happened almost immediately at the merge. I walked over to the water well. Cirie was there. We started chatting, and it was like, boom, locked in. Y'all haven't seen a lot of our conversations, our jokes, our late night talks, but it just was something that happened. So, why did Joe block you? Y'all, I don't know. I have no idea. I've been seeing stuff about him blocking a bunch of people. I really don't know. Maybe y'all could go ask him. Don't know. Honestly, don't care. How long did it take you to figure out the word inconceivable? It didn't take me long at all. Again, I'm a girl that loves word puzzles. So I was just in my head looking at all the letters and just trying to figure out different combinations. It probably clicked after like a minute, maybe. Were there regular idols replanted at all during the merge? I do not think so. And for me, that was one of my least favorite parts about this season because I think because the idol was like special this season and it was like a boomerang and there were so many different like rules and regulations to it, they never replanted a regular one, which I think was a missed opportunity personally. I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons, but planting regular idols in the game after the boomerang idols had been played, I think would have really shook things up and gave an opportunity for um, some real fun things to happen. But at no point was an idol ever discovered after the boomerang idols were played, and I do not think that they were replanted. There were a few questions in here also about whether or not I thought Seri was plotting on me because of the fact that she knew before the challenge. I don't think that that was the case. Um, she told me immediately after, but there was also a couple reasons for that because she told me right away. She was like, Tiffany, don't freak out. Like, I don't want you to freak out. Don't make the block hot. I don't think she told me, one, because when she found out, there wasn't a lot of time that we had alone for her to tell me this. Also, I think she kept that information from me because she didn't want it to get in my head when we were competing. Um, but she did tell me as soon as we got back to camp. How do you think the votes would have gone if Aubrey left instead of Azie? Assuming that Azie played his idol and came back to the beach without the idol in his pocket, I think that definitely would have decreased his threat level. And that would have given me, him, and Cirie and Rizzo a little more wiggle room to navigate. Now, Rizzo, I'm still a little shaky on because obviously he did turn on Cirie when he did. I know that Azie and I wouldn't have turned on her. So I feel like that would have given us a lot more breath in the game. And I don't think that that whole uh, non-spelling bee cheating takeover would have ever been a thing. Thoughts when Azie got voted out? I mean, Azie was my target that challenge, but I also would have been just as happy if Azie had come back to the beach without his idol because it wasn't. I mean, aside from the fact that Ozzy's a challenge beast, that wasn't the scary part to me. The idol was, because the way I look at idols is that's a seat filler. An idol is a seat filler for a seat that I could be sitting in. If Ozzy had come back to the beach without that idol, I would have been like, fine, because at the end of the day, we were working together. I just, you know, a lot of things going on with that one. Why do you think nobody wanted to flush Rizzo's idol / vote for him? Is he considered a GOAT? Um, I will come back to that question next week. Did you know that Rizzo and Cirie were tight / had a secret alliance? I knew that Rizzo and Cirie were tight and were working together, yes. I love how you stayed loyal to Cirie. What is your relationship with her like today? I'm grateful because her presence in my game and in my life was a lot bigger for me than just somebody who was my castmate and somebody who was playing the game with me. And we're friends. We were just texting each other, a little while ago and talking about finale looks and kiki and giggling about things on Instagram. That's my friend for life. If you had found an idol after the Rick vote, would you have played it on Cirie? Absolutely. I would have played that idol for Cirie. I would have had my immunity necklace, and we would have sent home the person that I wanted to send home. Unfortunately, there were no idols in the game, and coulda, shoulda, wouldas don't mean anything at this point. Has Joe done anything strategic in this game? Um, I don't know. I don't think. I think the best way for me to answer that question is I don't know. But also, from my perspective and from the perspective of the people that I've spoken with, I don't know if Joe was particularly seen as a really strategic player in general. Why do you think you're way better at comps on 50 than 46? Did Yanu just suck? Number one, yes, Yanu absolutely sucked because I'm still the same competitor and athlete that I am today that I was when I played 46. But unfortunately, you can't win team challenges by yourself. Um, and I think I probably would have done a lot better on challenges at 46 had I been allowed to get a little deeper into the game. I never got a chance to really spread my wings on 46 the way that I have on 50. And I think that that's the key difference, just more time. Why didn't you make another pitch to Jonathan and Joe to go after Rizzo and the idol instead of Aubrey? I can assure y'all, I pitched until I was blue in the face. I was working. My feet were hitting the pavement, okay? I did all I could do. I talked, I asked, I pitched. Unfortunately, a pitch doesn't really mean that much when it's coming from A, the person you want to get out, and B, a person that you know can beat you. So a lot of the things that I was pitching at that point was falling on deaf ears. They were afraid of me. Is there a reason no one is targeting Joe? You are a challenge beast rooting for you. This is my personal perspective, and I can only speak from my perspective. I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth, but I don't think that people were that scared of sitting next to Joe in the end game. Did your shoulders hurt from the weight of that constant immunity necklace? No, it didn't. And there's a little crown emoji after. So thanks, babe. But no, actually, I mean, I know that was like a rhetorical question, but just for curiosity, just to satisfy your curiosity, the immunity necklace is actually surprisingly light. You have ADHD? Question mark. Have you noticed Adderall makes you less creative? So yes, I do have ADHD, and I have never taken Adderall before. I'm actually scared to for that exact reason. I'm a very creative person. I'm artsy. I'm an ideas person. I really struggle when it comes to execution. So I've been on the fence about whether or not I want to actually start Adderall or any type of ADHD medication because I'm afraid that it might affect my creative spark. Now, if there are any fellow ADHD creatives out there, I would love for you guys to chat with me in the comments and let me know what your experience has been taking Adderall. Do you think that it's affect your creative capacity in any way? Because help a girl out. I'll be struggling sometimes. How much longer was the talk about who got what at auction than we saw? Oh, honey, it was very long. There was so many conversations about who got what at the auction, who outbid who, all the mess. It was a lot, and there was probably so much that they decided to cut it all out. I wish you had expressed your anger at everyone else for working together to make you lose. You know, I I wish I had expressed my anger in the moment too, but I'm also grateful that I did not because one, I'm already perceived as a scary player, a strong player, and I wasn't trying to give anybody else an additional reason to write my name down, even though I already knew that everybody was to the point where they were willing to gang up on me. I was still hoping that there was a chance that I could turn things around and maybe sway things and wiggle things around when I got back to camp. So I had to be very strategic. At the end of the day, you still got to be playing Survivor at all times. And that's what I chose to do in that moment. Why don't you ever wear your pink and white top? That's an excellent question. One, it was hot. And at a certain point, I used my pink and white top. I wore it every night, but I just wore it as an additional layer under my hoodie and under my sweater to just keep me from being super cold at night. And It was like a button up. So most of the time when it was hot out there, I was wearing short sleeves. I didn't want to wear my 3/4 sleeve or my long sleeve top. And nighttime was really the only time it felt appropriate to wear the top. But because I love my hoodie so much, it was usually underneath the hoodie. Why vote Rick out instead of using him as a shield slash vote against Jonathan or Aubrey? Oh, honey, I did not want to vote Rick out. That was just the direction that the votes were going in. I campaigned to do something different, but again, when you're playing with players that are scared, you kind of just got to go with the flow of the tide. Cirie mentioned there was a Hot Girls Alliance. Can you tell us how it was formed? I believe that the Hot Girls Alliance was formed by me and Dee, probably when we were on the original Kahlo. And then when we got to the merge and we started like, kicking it with Cirie, she was obviously the perfect fit because Cirie is like a strong woman. She's a girl's girl. Like she just felt like a natural fit to the Hot Girls Alliance. We all gravitated towards each other and it was just something that happened like naturally. Kids, let me tell you, spelling is fundamental. Yes, it is. All of my young Survivor fans out there, let me just encourage you. Maybe take an hour out of your TV time, turn that TV off and go pick up a book. Because if you ever want to play Survivor one day, spelling is fundamental. How does your ADHD play a factor in your gameplay? You know, I always joke around with my friends and I tell them I have the attention span of a flea because I'm always just like bopping around from thing to thing. And sometimes it works against me when it comes to like having to focus on like certain things. If I'm having a conversation, like I'll drift off, but I figured out a way to kind of help it work in my favor. I always had a million different things going at one time. There was never a point where anybody on the island didn't feel connected to me. I was having conversations with everybody all the time. And because of my ADHD, I'm constantly like running through scenarios of different things that could happen. I figured out a way to kind of use it as my superpower, especially in the moments where I needed to like dig in and concentrate. And because I'm not medicated, I have had to work 2 times and 3 times harder to figure out how to tune out the noise to get anything done in life. Did anyone else come up to you at Final Six to ask you to vote for Cirie? I felt you and Aubrey were close. I felt like Aubrey and I were close too, but it came to a point where Aubrey started viewing me as too big of a threat and she decided to turn on me and go with the guys. Whatevs. But no, I don't think that Cerie's name was ever like really pitched to me. I knew what the plan was, but nobody came up to me and was like, we want you to vote for Cirie because one, they had the numbers, and two, they knew I wasn't going for that. Like people were coming to me like, oh yeah, maybe Aubrey. They were going around, they were like going pretending to go along with my plan, but nobody pitched Cerie's name to me just because for the same reason that they didn't clue Cirie in on the plan to get rid of me. Cirie and I were close. Everybody knew it. And Rizzo obviously told Cirie about it, but pitching Cirie to me or pitching me to Cirie was not something that they thought was going to be fruitful, and they would have been correct. Love you on 50. How often do you go on social media like Reddit to read what people say about you? I actually Reddit is actually one of the platforms that I try to avoid because I don't like couch commentators. I do appreciate certain takes that fans have when it comes to the show, but I feel like things can get particularly negative on Reddit. And I feel like there's a lot of people that position themselves as experts on the game of Survivor in the Reddit threads who have never set foot on a beach in Fiji. And I'm like, I'm more so into the commentary of the people that can appreciate the game, but also understand that they'll never know it better than a person that has played the game. And there's not a lot of people on Reddit that have that mentality. I don't understand how anybody could ever think they know the game of Survivor better than somebody who's played it. But for that reason, I don't really go on Reddit. Threads is fun. Instagram is fun. I like to kiki and like, talk and chat on those platforms. But people on Reddit be bugging sometimes. And I don't have time for it. How lonely did it get without Cirie? I touched on that a little bit earlier. And in the interest of me not crying again, I'm going to move on to the next question. Would you consider going on the challenge? I absolutely would. I feel like that's a really fun game. I feel like it's a game that's catered towards somebody like me who's super competitive and strong. So yeah, I would definitely do that. Whose game from 50 have you learned the most about watching it air? Funny enough, Cerie's game is the one that I learned the most about watching it air because I knew that Cirie was good at the game, but watching it, like all the moments that I didn't see, especially pre-merge before we ever got to meet each other for real, seeing the way she maneuvered, it's like it took the perception in my head of what her gameplay was and just solidified it on a whole different level. Did you want to karate chop that finished puzzle or run through it? That sounds like an intrusive thought. No, I didn't. I think all of my energy was exerted by me jumping around and screaming, as you guys saw. What's your favorite color? Funny enough, I have two favorite colors, teal and lavender. And this was not planned in any way, shape, or form. But when I played season 46, I ended up on the purple, aka Lavender Tribe. And when I played season 50, my first tribe was Kalo, which is teal, which I think is just like so crazy and in alignment with the universe in some way, shape, or form. That is maybe telling me that Survivor is the thing that I was meant to be doing. I don't know. How are you able to zone out the other players during the immunity challenge? I touched on this a little bit, but having ADHD and not being medicated, I work overtime to focus on things when I need to get it done because I'm very much a person that has shiny object syndrome. I'll like look, what's the latest thing? I have to like, it's an art form that I have practiced a lot over the years. How do y'all know the shot in the dark thing is not rigged? Where does the scroll even come from? Well, I don't think it's rigged because I'm pretty sure that if it was rigged, I guarantee you Rick Devens wouldn't have went home. As much chaos and fun that he was bringing to Survivor 50, I know that the producers didn't want him to leave. But also, it is when you go into the voting booth, there's like a little canister. You drop your shot in the dark die in, and then there's like a bag of scrolls that's there, and you reach in and you grab one out. I'm pretty sure that it is not rigged. Hey girl, congrats on making it Final Five. My question is, what's the best move you made? You know, looking back on the game, I did a lot of stuff that you guys didn't see. But I will say that the move that I'm most proud of is when we had the double tribe split. Um, when Azie and Emily got voted out, I was the person that was supposed to be wearing the immunity necklace that day had I put my foot up on time. But because I didn't, I was proud of the way that I was able to maneuver and kind of nudge Jonathan to do exactly what I would have wanted to do if I was in that position. I didn't even need to be on the other side of the beach to get done what I needed to get done from the opposite side. I orchestrated a blind side and got one of my ops out and saved my bestie Seri in one game without immunity. So I'm very proud of that. And it definitely helped that Azie was just on the other side of the beach, kind of wilding out at the same time. Why is there apparently so much post game drama? Couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Taylor ham or pork roll? I don't eat either because I'm pescatarian. However, I'm from Jersey, so it's a pork roll, egg, and cheese all day. Realistically, how many more years do you think Survivor will go? I think that there's still a lot that Survivor has to offer the world. And after season 50, I feel like there's been a lot of like new life, especially into the fan base. There's been a lot of new fans that have come on board this season. I feel like Survivor 50 will go for as long as Jeff wants it to go. Jonathan or Rizzo, who had more win equity? Another question that I will circle back to after the finale. What do you think would have happened if Azie had played as idol? I think Aubrey would have went home. That was originally what they wanted to do anyway. How did you remain honest and positive knowing that the tribe was plotting to take you out? I moved through life with an attitude of gratitude. And at the end of the day, I think I was able to remain so positive because, regardless of the fact that they were all conspiring to take me out, I looked at it as evidence of things working out. What I wanted to do more than anything else was prove to myself that I'm a real contender in this game. And that type of stuff doesn't happen when you a scrub. So it was just more validation that I'm that girl. Your thoughts on the upcoming season 51? You know, you guys have some big shoes to fill. And above all else, I hope y'all go out there and play your heart out. My advice to y'all is just don't play scared. Is there anything Jeff won't address at the reunion that he should? Well, being that the reunion hasn't happened yet, I cannot I cannot answer that question. However, I'm more than happy to come back and revisit that question after the finale and reunion have aired. How do you feel being compared to Michelle? At least no one is looking at you like a goat. I love it. I think about it as an honor. Michelle's a freaking beast. I loved the way she played her game. I love watching her on the challenge. And for somebody to compare me to a player like that, instead of looking at me as somebody to just get dragged to the end to beat, I'll take it. You are the cool, rich auntie I aspire to be, always either on TV or on vacay. I receive that. I love that. And you know what? That tells me that I'm doing something right. How do you look for idols without making it obvious? Sometimes it's just as simple as like, saying, "Hey, I'm going to grab some water. I'm going to the well. I'm going to the bathroom," but then giving like a wink to the cameraman and letting them know like, "Hey, follow me." Like, because obviously the cameraman won't follow you if you're going to the bathroom, but they will follow you if you let them know that like you're going off to do something else. You just got to make it not hot boy. Sometimes people just go for walks and get fresh air. It's not as hard to do it when the numbers dwindle down in the game. Initially, it's hard when there's a lot going on and there's a lot of people because everybody's looking for any reason to vote somebody out, but it gets easier as the game goes on. How did you wiggle yourself from the bottom to the top in like one episode? I just think it's due to me having a great social game. I'm a good talker. Again, I'm good at reading people's energy. I'm good at making people feel like keeping me around is best for the game. Obviously, at least I was good at that until it was so obvious that I was, too big of a threat for them to ignore it. But I credit my social game with that. I knew that I was on the bottom. I knew I had work to do. So I dug my heels and got to it. I went around. I had the conversations I needed to have. I kind of got into the mentalities that everybody was there. I had conversations to figure out, all right, who's remaining and who's more threatening to this person than me, and how can I use that to my advantage. So I think I just got to work socially and I was able to flip things around. Unfortunately, you guys were not privy to a lot of those conversations or really any of that legwork that I put in to shift my position on the tribe. But just know that it was done, because if it wasn't, nobody at Final Six would be scared to sit next to me. They would be looking at me as somebody with no win equity, which is obviously not the case. What does it mean to you that you got voted out 10th on 46 and are now at least top 5? It means that I did what I needed to do. And above all else, it means that no matter what happens, I can walk away with my head held high and be proud of the game that I played, which is more than I can say for the game that I played the first time. This season is about to end. When are you dropping the training video with Hunter? Guys, my YouTube channel doesn't end when the season ends. I want to focus on answering you guys' questions every week. The training video will be posted after the season ends. I promise. How do you handle everyone coming at you? I think it would make me crazy. Oh, best believe it made me crazy too. But the key is not showing it outwardly. I had to exercise self control, but best believe I was definitely mad and I was going crazy on the inside. Would you ever do another reality TV show? Absolutely. Can y'all bring deodorant and stuff? And did you take swimming lessons to prepare? I did not take any deodorant or any type of toiletries from me. We don't get that type of stuff. Most they give us is sunscreen and hand sanitizer. And I didn't take swimming lessons, but I definitely did practice swimming on a weekly basis. What is it like being the only Black woman left? A little lonely, if I'm being honest. Little lonely. Did the rest of the tribe congratulate you after, or were they salty that you won? Ooh, I'm glad that you asked that question. I think I got a congratulatory hug from Rizzo. So Cirie congratulated me. But baby, the vibe when I got back to camp after that challenge was low. The vibes were low. They didn't show you this on TV, but the air was so stale back at camp after I won that individual immunity. I actually apologized to people as a whole when I got back, because everybody was being so like standoffish and like stale and nasty to me when I got back to camp. I thought that they were angry with me because of how hard I celebrated when I won the immunity. Like I actually went to everybody. I'm like, yo, like, I'm sorry if I did too much. after the challenge, like, with the jumping around and celebrating, because I'm like, was I a bad sport? Like, was I exercising bad sportsmanship? Like, why is everybody acting so nasty and standoffish to me after my win? Um, they never showed that part of me apologizing, but the vibes were low after I won that. And it was very obvious that people were not happy about it. Did you feel some type of way when Jonathan was snacking on the rice and then complained he hasn't eaten since the auction? I saw a deleted scene that he actually helped himself to the rice at both tribes during the tribe split. I think I definitely felt a type of way, but for me, it was more about just him being nasty and eating and putting his tongue in the jar. I'm like, dude, we're all hungry. I didn't eat nothing at the auction except for 2 cupcakes. We actually had a little moment where we went back and forth and talked smack about like people wasting food at the auction and stuff like that. But I think the thing that made me feel a type of way more than anything else was just the fact that he was being dirty and sticking his tongue in the rice jar and contaminating it. But anyways, thank y'all so much for rocking with me during the season. I am very excited going into finale. Just know that next week's YouTube video after finale is going to be turned up. I can't wait. And I'm definitely still going to keep posting on this channel. If you guys want to keep it up, keep chatting with me. I plan on posting my training videos. I plan on posting my audition videos. So just because the season ends doesn't mean the fun on YouTube has to end. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place.